I think that we can all agree that cinema is in a bit of a weird place right now. What was once a time to sit in a room of darkness and get lost in a story for a couple of hours has now become just another facility for big corporations to make money. We're seeing less and less original stories being put together, and instead we're getting live action remakes of already existing stories from a studio that's meant to be known for their
imagination.
We're getting spin-offs made from films made over 30 years ago, which at most were decent, and sequels which turn the original main character, who was once an inspiring, mature and heroic individual, into a sad, miserable joke of a human. So when I heard about a film that is original, isn't made by Hollywood, and won a Golden Globe, I mean, I was hooked. Now, I'm not really a fan of the award shows. I never have been. The only good thing to come out of them in recent times is Ricky Gervais and his beautiful speech basically telling Hollywood to just shut the fuck up for once and do their job. Thank you, Ricky. Anyway, after all the news behind this film, I just decided I had to check it out, and oh, am I glad I did. There's a certain feeling some films give you nowadays which is very rare, and I'll try to describe it for you and just see if you can relate. So, you finish watching the movie, the credits roll, and you just think to yourself, now that was a movie, that is cinema. And you begin to realise how every other film that you've seen in cinemas within the last few months was complete and utter shit. Top Gun Maverick gave me this feeling, Avatar 2 gave me this feeling, and RRR certainly gave me this feeling. It's a story of friendship, betrayal, overcoming personal challenges, epic dance numbers, and sexy facial hair. No, but seriously, this film is fucking fantastic. I haven't smiled or been this emotionally invested into characters of a movie in a long time, and this film broke that curse. So the film is based in pre-independent India and revolves around an Indian officer in the British force who's offered a promotion if he captures a mystery individual who's apparently plotting a revolution against the British forces after the British took his younger sister away. Unfortunately for them, they have no clue what this guy looks like or really anything about him, apart from the fact that he's a serious threat who needs to be stopped if the British are to succeed. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way before we really dive in. Right, this is not a perfect film. There's aspects to it which are quite silly and over the top, such as the British actors who you'd think they're just not that good at acting, but honestly, I think they were told to act this way just so that the audience could resent them even more, just out of the fact that they're just so fucking annoying. The film's also 3 hours long. It does take its time to really unfold everything in the story and get you fully invested into the characters, which can drag at times, but honestly, personally, I didn't mind it at all. I'd rather that a film adds on an extra 20 minutes or so just to establish everything, instead of feeling too rushed and not allowing us to fully connect to what's on screen. And I mean, in retrospect, it's worth the 3 hours, just let me say that. It's also filled with quite a lot of plot conveniences, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you can kind of see how they would happen, so I'm not going to go too deep into that point. Anyway, the criticisms, I've got them out of the way, let's just talk positives now. So, man, this film is really, really good. I've mentioned the basic premise of the film already, but that just doesn't do it justice. Right, I knew I was in for a ride for this film when the officer goes into the skies as a general citizen and out of nowhere joins forces with Beam, who's the mystery guy, to save a young child from a fire. From this, they instantly connect and become best friends, start doing everything together, from dancing to being a wingman to riding motorcycles. It's just a beautiful friendship.
And nothing more.
Beam also gets feelings for a British woman who's the only British person he's come across who shows his family any sympathy or kindness, and after talking to her, she invites him for tea, and he discovers that he's in the very building where his captured sister's being held. I think it's fair to say that he's not happy, and from here, he plots to bring her back to his family. Now, of course, Officer Raju knows nothing of this, or the fact that Beam is the man he's been looking for this entire time, and it's only when he realises that Beam is the man that he's been looking for that the story takes a big shift. Now, I just want to say it's so refreshing to see a film that embraces masculinity like this one did. In Hollywood, it's practically a crime against humanity to have a stoic, masculine man at the forefront, and seeing masculine men serving a purpose in this film, it's just such a breath of fresh air. They're strong, critical thinking individuals who will live until their last breath if they have to, striving to achieve their goal. They're not made to look stupid because of their muscles. They're not undermined to put a female character at the forefront. This film knows what it is. Unfortunately, it runs under corporations with very different expectations than mainstream Hollywood. Anyway, from this point on in the movie, we're made to believe that Officer Raju is genuinely bad intentioned and that he actually wants to capture Beam and help the British for his own selfish gain in getting his promotion to a higher ranking officer. But no. So next we get a flashback which reveals that this has been part of his plan all along, to get to a high enough rank that would allow him to ultimately fulfill the goal that his father made him promise to fulfill, which is to give everyone in his home village a weapon. Unfortunately, to do this, he has to betray Beam in the process while he keeps his intentions a secret, as he can't risk the British forces finding out. Even when Raju jams the guns of all the officers, which allows Beam to escape from being hanged, he still thinks Raju is against him, and I mean, this just goes to show the strength of friendship.
and nothing more.
If Beam was just another man that he managed to never form a connection with, he might have genuinely allowed him to die to ultimately reach his goal. And we know he's willing to do this from the first sequence where he single-handedly takes out like hundreds of people just to impress one of the sergeants, who can then vouch for him to go and find Beam in the first place. But it's shown here that he's willing to die without Beam finding out the truth, because he knows Beam is capable enough to overthrow the revolution. Anyway, fortunately Beam escapes, and months later comes across Raju's wife while he's in hiding, and discovers that Raju has been plotting his own revolution all along. But during this time, after betraying the British forces, Raju has been locked up. But after Beam hears the truth, he goes to save him, and we get an incredible action sequence where they just fucking kill all the British soldiers. They return to their families, and we get an epic dance sequence. There's genuine lessons to be taken away from this story, those being to never give up on your goals, to let go of selfishness and just do what's right, and the importance of friendship in a man's life. It's a gut-punching and emotional story, also filled with a ton of crazy action sequences, and with an extremely satisfying payoff, and I would recommend RRR to anyone. But yeah, this film is just fucking, it's such a blast, and I just hope that Hollywood is capable of making stuff even remotely close to this in the near future. But anyway, thank you for watching, and bye.